If someone had warned me that a single cup of morning coffee would unravel 65 years of dignity, I might have stayed in bed that day. But life rarely sends warnings. It just hands you moments that change everything. The kitchen was warm that morning, filled with the smell of freshly brewed coffee. Lisa had made far stronger than I liked. It was her husband's favorite blend, and she always prepared it as if he were the only one who mattered. I was cradling my mug, trying to enjoy the calm, when Travis plopped into the chair across from me. "Grandma," he said casually, like he was asking me to pass the salt, "can I borrow your credit card again? I need something for my gaming setup. Only 5,000. Only 5,000. The entitlement in that single word told me everything. "No, sweetheart," I replied evenly. "Not this time." Silence. But not the soft kind, the kind that stretches, thick and threatening. Lisa didn't yell at first. She simply stared at me, her jaw tight. Then, without a warning or a word, she tipped my mug straight into my lap. The coffee was blistering hot. I jerked up, the cup falling and shattering across the tile floor. Pain shot through me, but worse than the burn was her expression. Cold, calculating, as if she had been waiting for a moment to strike. "If you're going to be selfish," she said, her voice crisp like a manager reprimanding an employee, "maybe it's time you leave. Travis needs that equipment. If you won't help, you can find somewhere else to live. We're not a charity." A charity. The word pierced me deeper than any burn. I looked at her, really looked at her, and it finally clicked. I wasn't a mother or grandmother to her anymore. I was an asset, a reservoir she believed she was entitled to drain whenever she pleased. And Travis, he only mirrored what he'd been taught. My legs stung as I dabbed the spilled coffee from my pants. Nobody moved to help me. Not a hand, not a word, not even a glance of concern. "You've got money. Ever since Dad died, you've been hoarding it. Why pretend you're broke now?" I didn't respond. I couldn't, because something inside me had shifted. Something small, but powerful. A quiet resolve. I walked to the sink, rinsed my trembling hands under cold water, and when I turned off the faucet, my voice returned. "I'll be gone by sunset." Lisa blinked. She expected a fight. But she didn't understand something critical. Quiet does not mean powerless. The guest room felt colder than usual when I closed the door behind me. Not physically cold, just empty in the way a place becomes when you realize it was never meant for you. My legs throbbed from the burns, but the ache in my chest was something else entirely. I reached for my suitcase on the top shelf, the one Lisa once said I didn't need because you're not going anywhere anytime soon. Dusty, forgotten, like me. I tugged it down slowly. Every movement reminded me of my hip replacement, something she once pretended to care about. As I packed quietly, I noticed something odd. My purse felt lighter. Unzipped the first pocket, empty. Second, empty. Third, nothing. My heart tapped harder. My wallet? Gone. My bank card? Gone. My ID? Gone. Yesterday, I'd used that card for my prescription. Lisa had driven me, insisting on carrying my bag inside to spare my hip. I'd mistaken that for kindness. Now it was strategy. I dumped the contents across the bed. Peppermints, a few tissues, old lipstick. Nothing mattered. Little by little, disguised as help, she'd taken control. Bills shifted to her account. Paper statements stopped. Phone calls screened. Not support. Control. Ownership. I pulled out an old notebook with my account numbers written down months ago. The numbers were mine, the account was mine, but without the card or ID, Lisa held the keys. Humiliation hit me, not because she took things, but because I let her. I'd been grateful for her help after surgery and didn't notice when help became control. Footsteps outside, slow, hesitant. They paused, then walked away, not to check on me, to ensure I stayed quiet. I clutched the notebook. No tears, no shaking, just clarity. Time to reclaim what I'd forgotten belonged to me. Independence. I picked up the phone and dialed someone I hadn't called in ages. Gerald, someone who once said, "If you ever need help, Ruth, call me before you think twice." When Gerald answered, his first words told me he already knew something was wrong, but even he wasn't prepared for what I was about to uncover next. "Ruth," Gerald's voice trembled slightly, not from fear, but recognition. "Something's wrong, isn't it?" I swallowed hard. They've taken everything, my cards, my ID. It's worse than I thought, Gerald. I need you." Within an hour, Gerald arrived. He carried no judgment, only the calm authority of someone who had seen manipulation before. He helped me sit, inspected my purse, and shook his head slightly. "Lisa's clever," he said quietly. "She's isolated you, made you reliant without you realizing it. But it's fixable. We start by regaining control step by step." Step by step. The words were like a balm to the storm raging inside me. We reviewed my accounts. Every transfer Lisa made, every bill redirected, every payment delayed. Gerald noted them meticulously. Nothing irreversible, but we act fast. I felt a flicker of my old self returning. My independence, though challenged, wasn't gone. Then came the revelation that chilled me. A few weeks ago, Lisa had sold one of Dad's rare antique collections. She told me she was helping declutter. She'd already converted assets to her name. My life, my possessions, quietly siphoned away. I couldn't believe I hadn't seen it sooner. The deception had been patient, invisible, like poison dripping into water. Gerald leaned in, firm. "Ruth, you're not powerless, but you need evidence. Every record, every transaction. And you need a plan, not revenge, not confrontation, control." It was the first time I felt a spark of strength amidst the humiliation. Not anger, not despair, strategy. We spent hours documenting, making copies, noting inconsistencies. Every small victory, a statement retrieved, a password changed, became a step back toward me. As night fell, I realized something. Lisa hadn't just tried to steal money. She tried to steal my identity, my autonomy. But she underestimated one thing. I remembered who I was. And the moment I uncovered the full extent of her theft, I realized the battle wasn't just for my possessions, it was for my life as I knew it. Morning arrived, with sunlight slicing across the guest room floor. The house felt smaller now, constricting, as if the walls themselves were aware of my awakening. Lisa moved around obliviously, preparing breakfast, but I wasn't the frightened woman from yesterday. I had Gerald's guidance, a plan in place, and a notebook full of proof. My possessions were mine, and I intended to reclaim them, piece by piece. I started with the bank. Every call I made was deliberate, confident. Each transfer Lisa had orchestrated was flagged, frozen, or reversed. I felt the thrill of control, the same rush I remembered from decades ago when I first balanced my checkbook independently. Then came the confrontation with Travis. He lingered near the doorway, expecting passive compliance. "Grandma," said, "Mom says you're being difficult. Can't you just—" I stopped him with a quiet firmness. "No, Travis, I am not an ATM. You will not take what isn't yours." Shock flashed in his eyes. Confusion, anger. But I didn't flinch. For the first time, he saw me as I had always been. A person, not a resource. Lisa returned from the kitchen, the smell of burnt toast trailing her. She saw my phone, the statements, Gerald quietly observing. Her face paled. Strategy met its match. You think this proves anything? She snapped. It proves one thing, I said steadily. I am still here. I am still me. And you cannot take that. Gerald nodded at me subtly, reassurance that my voice mattered, that my autonomy could be reclaimed. By noon, some of my accounts were restored, some transactions reversed, some possessions couldn't be recovered, yet. But the momentum was mine now. I felt a surge of clarity. My life hadn't ended in that kitchen had woken me up. The battle wasn't over. Lisa would fight back, but I had one advantage she didn't anticipate: the quiet, unwavering strength of someone who refused to be erased. By evening, the house felt tense, tight, with unspoken words. Lisa moved like a caged animal, scanning every corner for threats she couldn't name. Travis followed her lead, silent, eyes darting. I sat with Gerald, the notebook open between us. Evidence meticulously compiled. Every transaction, every deception, every lie, cataloged. I felt the weight of justice settling in my chest. Not vengeance, justice. Lisa attempted one last bluff, trying to charm and intimidate simultaneously. You're making a mistake, Ruth. You can't undo what's already done. I smiled, not coldly, but firmly. Watch me. The quiet strength I had nurtured these past 2 days radiated outward. I had allies, knowledge, and a resolve that neither threats nor tears could break. We recovered enough funds to restore independence. Some items were permanently lost, but the principle mattered more than possessions. The battle had become symbolic, reclaiming my dignity. Travis sat silently, comprehension dawning slowly. No tantrums, no entitlement, just a growing awareness that power cannot be inherited blindly. Lisa, however, confronted a truth she hadn't expected. Manipulation meets resistance only once. After that, it must bow to reality. By sunset, I had packed essentials for a temporary stay elsewhere, planning my next legal steps. Gerald offered advice, resources, and reassurance, a bridge to rebuilding a life I thought had slipped away. As I locked the front door behind me, I didn't feel defeated. I felt awakened. The quiet that had once concealed my vulnerability now reflected a resilience she couldn't touch. This wasn't the end of confrontation. It was the beginning of reclaiming decades of control, stolen moments, and lost autonomy.